What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode 23 of Two Guys, One Court. Once again, my name is Zach Goldstein.
And my name is Braylon Zhang.
And today we have a very special episode to get through. We're going to talk about the kind of ending of March Madness, those two championship games. We have
amazing games.
Yeah, we did.
Really dominant performances from both teams.
Yeah, we had going to talk about the future of kind of the WNBA and the great players coming out of the
2023-24 college season, into the NBA, the WNBA.
Yeah. Then we're gonna kind of get into basically we're at the end of the season. We have two games. For some teams,
really,
the most important
games.
Yeah.
Playoff dependent games.
Definitely.
Or play-in dependent games.
Yeah.
I'd say the play-in games are a little more important because you would still have a pretty low, but still a shot at winning the championship.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into that at the end of the NBA season. Kind of what's kind of a wrap up of the season, but we'll do that later in the next episode of kind of what shocked us with the season, and then we'll get into the separate teams and what the most important teams and what's gonna happen in the future for these final two games. But before that, we're just going to give a little shout out to
our sponsor,
Prodap.co.
For all your social media marketing.
Media marketing is everything. Make sure to check out the website and check out their Instagram at Prodap.co. And make sure to check out our social media at Two Guys One Court
and our store.
And our store, our merch store. We're selling shirts like that. We're getting a lot done.
Yeah.
Selling all these shirts. We've officially designed the hat yesterday. We're going to get that into circulation. It's going to look good. A lot better than the first prototype. We'll get that to you. Remember, the website is just for pictures. So if you want to buy a shirt, you could just DM us on Instagram at Two Guys One Court, and we'll get that situated for you and get that to you in about a week. But yeah, make sure to follow us on all social medias. That's how you get notified by our
new posts,
our episodes,
new episodes,
all that stuff, and updates on our merch. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Firstly, we have UConn winning the national championship.
We have UConn. We got the hat right there.
As we predicted, UConn going back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have?
Honestly, I think from last episode, it might have been the Elite Eight or Final Four. We had all of our predictions correct.
Yeah,
all of our predictions correct.
We had all of yours. I missed the women's game, but
we knew from the beginning, from the first episode that we talked about the March Madness.
The first day of March Madness, that UConn was gonna go and repeat.
We knew UConn was gonna win. This was their year. Last year they weren't supposed to win.
Yeah,
they had a stroke of luck and they ended up playing
FAU
in the finals.
Definitely FAU.
FAU, they played them last year. Yeah.
No, they played San Diego State last year.
They played San Diego State last year. They did. They played those in the Final Four. I get those mixed up. But that doesn't matter. They beat Purdue 75-60.
Amazing game. It just shows how dominant UConn actually is.
Exactly,
there's a crazy stat that they've been trailing in the entire March Madness tournament for less than 5 minutes,
which is insane.
That is crazy dominance. That's like
insane.
2000. That's like 2000 Shaquille O'Neal dominance.
Oh yeah. And along with that, I'd like to say that the Boilermakers are nothing if not one player, Zach Edey. He scored 67% of their points.
Yeah.
He is 2/3 of their offense and defense.
Yeah.
He had a great game.
Yeah, he had a great game. He scored 60% of Purdue's buckets.
Over at 67.
He scored more than the entire rest of the team.
67. Definitely. He scored the majority.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching the game, obviously, but I was seeing that their Purdue's point guard, he was really struggling to bring the ball down the court. He's getting it stolen, making it hard to
UConn has great defense.
Yeah, to find a good player to pass to. And by good player, I mean Zach Edey.
Yeah.
But Zach Edey was really trying his best, but I just don't think they would have been able to beat UConn with such a subpar rest of the team.
Yeah, and that's the problem with having one star player in a very intense championship game like that. If your team finds a way how to kind of condense, which they didn't, he still scored 30-something points. But if you find a way to kind of condense the impact that Zach Edey has on the court, then you're going to win the game. Because if you have as many weapons as UConn has, then you can just simply try to condense one person on the other
Donovan Clingan was really doing something. But,
Newton was great.
Once again, he didn't guard most of Zach Edey's points, but he did really good. He got a couple blocks on him. He did some really good things defensively and some good things offensively as well.
And we'll talk about some of those big big players in the NCAA later, actually, about kind of what's their future. But it was a great game in general.
Yeah, but
happy to see it.
I think the game really truly showed Purdue's major weakness, as in having to feed the ball to one player, and if that one player gets double teamed or maybe locked up a little, they really struggle to score a lot of points.
And still, that player, Zach Edey, was by far the best player on the court.
Yeah, best player on the court. But UConn's defense, with their really strategic tactics, still was able to maybe deny a couple points that could have had Purdue in the lead.
Yeah, you just have to be a very special person to be a one-man game, to be a one-man team. You have to be a LeBron, a Kobe, that, you know.
But another struggle of Purdue that game was their defense. They were letting go of a lot of wide-open three-point shooters, wide-open two-point mid-range shots, wide-open fast-break layups as well, which accounted for a lot of UConn's points that really secured them the win. I think that their defense was just lacking a lot that game, especially the perimeter defense.
Yeah, I'd say so. But it was a great accomplishment for UConn. They're officially tied with the Bulls. They are 6-0 in championship games. Phenomenal. UConn leads all of the NCAA in men's and women's championships with 17. The women are 11-1,
like the Lakers.
Just like the Lakers and the Celtics. All great franchises, organizations with 17 championships, 11-1 with the women, and 6-0 with the men's. So good for them. The first back-to-back championship for UConn since the 07-08 Florida Gators.
Yeah, one of the only teams that have gone back-to-back.
I think they're
NCAA
like the
history.
There's definitely been less than 10.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're probably.
I think there's been around 10 because there was Florida, and I think UCLA.
Yeah,
there was one.
But a lot of others in the 50s when there weren't a lot of great athletics. But moving from the men's onto the women's, we had a great game.
Sadly, Caitlin Clark didn't get her hero story after her senior year of playing.
Now, let me get this straight. Caitlin Clark is a great player, and we're going to talk specifically how she's a phenomenal player later in this episode.
She's a generational talent. She's just insane.
But let's be honest.
Maravich level player in college.
South Carolina University, this is an undefeated team. They have not lost a single game this season. They were 40, maybe 39, 40-something in 0. They did not lose a single game. They had a better point differentiation than UConn throughout the tournament. They are the most under-recognized team. They're the most underrated team in that NCAA tournament for women's. And they shouldn't have been, you know? All the press was on LSU. It was all on Iowa, all on Caitlin Clark. And sure, it makes sense.
Not many people were talking about South Carolina at all. They were really just giving big publicity and media attention to LSU, to Iowa.
Yeah, Stanford.
A lot of other teams.
But they had a phenomenal season. And they've had phenomenal seasons since 2019 when they finally upset UConn in a championship. Yeah. They've had a phenomenal season. They had that buzzer beater against Tennessee that nobody talked about in the Final Four game. And then they had a great win, 87-75 against Iowa, against a phenomenal talent.
Yeah, they were a really underrated team throughout the entire tournament. I mean, I sure didn't think that they would beat Iowa, but here we are now. They definitely
my prediction was
beat
South
Iowa
Carolina
by a lot. But
yes, honestly, sad for Caitlin Clark, but we're all moving on though.
This brings us to our next topic. Some WNBA players. One of the best WNBA players of all time, Sue Bird.
And Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, been giving a lot of hate to Caitlin Clark.
They had some words to say. I think they're a little bit salty. They're a little bit jealous about what Caitlin Clark has accomplished.
Yeah, and how good she actually is. How much of a talent she is by being the all-time NCAA scorer in basketball.
And it's not just these. It's not just these two players. It's all WNBA, greats, all legends in that field are kind of cultivating this kind of narrative around Caitlin Clark, saying, "Hey, you didn't win a championship. You're not deserving of all the fame and the whatever that you're getting."
Yeah.
When you don't need to win a championship. Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to win a championship to
be a great player.
Yeah, you don't.
That was their whole argument.
You need to be a great player to be a great player.
I think they're jealous. She is the leading scorer. No, it's this. I feel like the media just brushed by this. Like it was just another thing to happen.
But the leading scorer in men's and women's.
Yeah.
Men's is insane. Beating out Pete Maravich, beating out other NCAA greats. Sure, she played for 4 years, but that doesn't
matter.
Yeah.
Right? She's beating out Hall of Fame talents in the NBA, in the WNBA. She's had great performances after great performances. You know, she's never not led her team in any facet
definitely
of her
the
game.
best player in the NCAA for women.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's just...
But I don't think she deserves this hate at all.
It's
just
so
because
demeaning.
she didn't win a championship. Yeah. I mean, players like Russell Westbrook and James Harden haven't won a championship yet, but they're still regarded as amazing players.
And Hall of Fame,
Hall of Fame level players.
And it's so demeaning because Caitlin Clark has been in that championship game 2 times. She's played teams that had more weapons than Iowa did.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure she'll have success in the NBA, but you can't define her by one game. Define her by all the points that she scored that outscored you, Sue Bird, and you, Diana Taurasi, and you, all the other people who are hating on her. She's outscored all of you, and every single men's college basketball player.
Yeah,
which is unheard of.
Yeah,
you know,
that is
I never expected.
Unreal player right there. I personally would never have seen it coming, considering how unbreakable some records in the NCAA are.
Yeah, definitely. But besides that,
but one more thing about
one more.
I think that instead of hating on them, I think Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi should just maybe accept the fact that she's an amazing player.
Yeah.
Will go on to have an amazing WNBA career. Probably end up being the best, one of the best WNBA players of all time if she doesn't get injured. It's a healthy career. She's just an amazing player.
Yeah, and it's not that Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi aren't great players.
Yeah,
and honestly, they were just the
WNBA
selection
players.
and those loud voices that we took from, all those people who kind of hated on her. You know, they're great players, but Caitlin Clark's a better player. And she's a generational talent, and she's going to bring all the hype and all those millions of viewers that she has to the WNBA. She's going to make the WNBA relevant.
Yeah, first time in...
Yeah.
Ever
since ever.
WNBA is going to be relevant. Their tickets are going to get sold out. No more people sleeping on the bench during the games.
Those tickets for the I think it's the first pick in the draft is some Indiana team. I don't
Indiana Fever.
I think so.
Surprised I knew that.
I know. Good for you, but listen, those tickets are going to be sold out. See, she's a generational talent.
Her rookie debut as a WNBA player is going to be insane.
Yeah, nobody knows how great she is.
Women's Wembanyama.
Basically, yeah. And it's just demeaning for these greats to talk, negatively about her.
Yeah.
If she's supposed to, kind of look up to them for her whole career, and when she's going into the WNBA, it's just not a great atmosphere that you're putting to those generational talent.
I mean, there's 2 types of people when it comes to enduring hate. One type of person, they just suck it up. It kind of ruins their play style, but the others, they just have to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
Score 50 points in a game. Silence all the haters.
Sometimes you got to expect that some player is going to be better than you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if she's 22 coming out of college and you're 37 and you're done with your career and you've obviously had more stats, but this player hasn't played in the WNBA.
Yeah,
she's going to be a great player. She's going to win championships. Yeah. But off of that note, and kind of players entering, leaving college, entering the WNBA, we had just in the past couple days, we had some
3 amazing NCAA players.
Three NCAA stars declaring for the NBA draft. Yeah. And we're gonna kind of analyze that and see kind of the sole best fit or best realm that this player could take on an NBA team and how they'd fit into that team. So first off,
you wanna two-time champion.
Yeah, with UConn.
Donovan Clingan.
Great center.
2 years with UConn.
He did.
Declaring for the NBA draft.
Yesterday or today maybe.
Yesterday. I don't know. I think it was yesterday.
But besides that,
who do you think would be the best team for a player like Donovan Clingan?
Well, we all know that UConn is a 3-point first team.
Yeah, they have a really specific play style that rings in tune with some NBA teams. I mean, Donovan Clingan's impact has been really high on the UConn team.
Yeah.
Been an amazing post scorer.
Yeah, and he could shoot too.
Yeah, he can shoot some.
He's a great all-around player, and I think that he'd fit in with a team that kind of needs another center, power forward. That's going to stay healthy, that's young, that's new, that's a breath of fresh air to a team in the East that, could move up the charts because there's not a lot of competition in the East. But we think the Atlanta Hawks could be a good fit
the Atlanta Hawks
for
shoot
Donovan
an amazing amount of three-pointers.
Yeah.
I mean, led by Trae Young, he's an amazing three-point shooter, ice cold from deep.
Yeah.
I mean, Donovan Clingan will be really next level part in a couple years when he enters the NBA. Give him time to develop in the NBA. I think the Hawks would be an amazing fit for him.
Definitely.
As they have a really similar quick play style as the UConn Huskies.
And that duo big man of Clint Capella and Donovan Clingan is going to be great. And I know that Clint Capella has had some, a ton of injuries in the past. So I think that Donovan Clingan, he's a good constant. He's had a ton of experience. He's shown time and time again that he's the real deal. He's a great player, and he's a modern center.
Yeah,
he can shoot. He can do anything.
He can shoot.
He's not just dropped in the paint and whatever, just like Zach Edey.
Yeah.
But he's a great center. And to move on from that, we have another more well-known player on social media.
Young player. Jared McCain. Declaring for the NBA draft.
After a one-year stint at Duke.
That was yesterday.
Yesterday, I believe, yeah. Good for him, though.
Yeah.
The Duke team is going to be a lot better next year with Cooper Flagg.
Amazing next year. I mean, Cooper Flagg, we've seen the hype with him. He's an amazing player. He can basically do it all.
Yeah, but why not?
College ready at this point. He skipped a grade.
Yeah, but why not go out on a high with Jared McCain had phenomenal last 3 games in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
he had like a 28-point game.
Unexpected things in the tournament.
So he hit that little jump at the best time ever. And he's a great all-around point guard. He's a great passer. He has great off-ball movement.
He's a great jump shot.
Yeah. And he racks up assists. And I think we think a pretty good fit for him would be in a very young team, San Antonio Spurs.
I mean, anybody can be a good fit with the Spurs.
Definitely, if
they're
you're a good
lacking
player.
every position except for the center.
So a point guard wouldn't hurt.
Yeah,
it would help.
Point guard definitely wouldn't hurt.
Yes.
I mean, give Jeremy Sochan a couple years to develop into a good player. I mean, he's already upped his free throw game, his 3-point game in a season or two. And I think with Jared McCain, his amazing passing ability and his amazing shooting ability, they can move on from just feeding Wembanyama in the paint, and they can actually be able to shoot threes. They can play some better defense because Wembanyama's already a defensive menace. He is. He should be the depoy of this year, honestly.
But he'll get the Rookie of the Year though. But that's a great duo to look forward to. And the Spurs are a terrible team, and they're going to have those higher picks. So will the Hawks. And that could be a realistic fit. Obviously, we don't know because the season's not over. We still have 2 games left. But these are just our fits.
The number 1 pick this year. Don't know who's getting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then our final player is Rob Dillingham, who had a kind of bigger press release.
Yeah.
Won an interview with the NBA and declared for the NBA draft after 1 year at Kentucky. He's a phenomenal point guard. I don't know too much about him. I just know he's a great talent. He played at OTE, I believe, for a year.
Did he?
I'm pretty sure he did. But he's a great player. He's a great talent, athletic.
Shooter. He's score first player. Gets a lot of buckets on Kentucky.
And we think that I think a good fit for him would be the Wizards.
Washington.
Yeah. And you may be thinking Jordan Poole's on the Wizards, but let's be honest. What does he do?
Poole's like old Lightning McQueen.
He is. Yeah.
He's fading.
He's missing his good old days with all his mentors ahead of in front of him.
That's actually such a good comparison.
It is. Yeah.
I just made that up on the spot. I mean, sure, he's never been a star, but he's had a lot of mentors with Curry and Clay, just like Doc Hudson.
Yeah, great comparison. I hope you guys know what we're talking about. It'd be sad if you didn't. But
Cars was the best Pixar movie.
Real changes need to be brought to the Wizards team.
Yeah,
Jordan Poole is not going to solve a problem.
Brand new roster,
Yeah, Jordan Poole is not going to solve a problem. He's a great addition to a team that can bring some energy and a young spirit that might shoot really bad shots. But I think it's time for a change. It's time to slowly build up instead of just, dropping everything that you have and starting fresh with three kind of terrible players.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that his fit on the Wizards would be an amazing scoring player because the Wizards don't really have a leading scorer right now because they have Poole and Kuzma.
And Poole's only averaging 17 points per game.
Yeah.
You'd expect him to get at least 23, 24,
20 to 23 points. I mean, he's gotten released from the Warriors. He'll get a starting role, which he did lose in the middle of the season.
He did.
Yeah, but
whatever.
I mean, I thought big of Jordan Poole, but I guess I was disappointed.
We're not praying on his downfall, but we're hoping for a better fit. And we think, Rob Dillingham is that fit.
Yeah.
And he could kind of start that little revolution in Washington. Not the first person to do it. Not the first time to do it.
I agree with that.
But moving on with that, like we've said a couple times throughout the podcast, we have 2 games left in the season. We are basically done with the season. Every team has played about 80 games. So I think a lot of things have, pretty much surprised us. We've kind of had some out-of-pocket takes in the summer.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to talk about the biggest surprises. We're going to talk about the biggest surprises that the NBA season kind of pushed upon us. And I think the first biggest one, I know in the summer we said the rookie of the year, it's going to be Chet Holmgren. It's going to be Chet. He's a great talent, but no.
Yeah, well, that alien came into our lives. I was baffled by Wembanyama.
Oh, me too.
By Wembanyama.
I never expected that.
Speaking of alien, his new logo is amazing.
If you didn't see, look on Nike's Instagram. It's a great logo.
Yeah, his concept sneaker is really unique. But I think it would be an amazing shoe for centers in the high school and college in the league.
Yeah, but the alien, I hope that's his nickname soon.
Yeah.
Not just Wemby, because that's boring.
Yeah.
But the alien, he's affected all our lives.
Cooler name for a unicorn.
Sure. Yes. But he's honestly had some phenomenal performances. He has those couple games where he got 10 plus blocks.
Yeah, almost a quadruple double game.
Yeah, but he averages a double. He averages like 20 and 10. Something around that.
He's not the contributing factor to the Spurs' victories, but he's the contributing factor to the Spurs' defense. Yeah. If you saw that clip with the Grizzlies, you saw 3 players going in for a fast break layup. Wembanyama was in the paint. He gave it up. He passed it out for a 3-point shot.
Yeah.
That is an insane.
He's a selfless guy.
Yeah, that's a crazy.
That's what you want.
Person in the paint. I mean, he has an aura.
And
he has an aura, defensive aura.
And what he's done for the Spurs is not too much, but it's all he could do because Chet is on that
amazing Thunder team.
Is on the amazing Thunder team
with
that's
stars
been
like
going
SGA with Lou Dort, Josh Giddey.
But he's been going. That team has been going in and out of the first, second, third seed. That is a phenomenal team. Of course, you're going to succeed around that team, and he's a great talent, sure. But if he was replaced with Victor Wembanyama, we wouldn't even be talking about Chet.
Victor Wembanyama on the Thunder.
Thunder would be an immediate 1 seed.
Yeah, that would be.
They would be in the finals.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama's defensive presence is unmeasurable by a stat. You just have to see it to believe how strong he is defensively and how he can completely alter the play of the game with other people.
And I think another huge surprise that came this season was the teams emerging out of the West. I think the biggest surprises for me were the Clippers. And
I think the biggest surprise it was the Timberwolves.
I was going to say the Timberwolves. Yeah, that defense is insane.
Yeah,
the Timberwolves are a great team.
I did not expect the players like Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns to take such a big step up defensively this season. Yeah. But it's paying off a lot. They have the best defensive rating in the league, and I completely agree with that. Ant's been turning into a star player this year. He's getting crazy points and crazy posters as well.
And what about the old timers? On the Clippers, these veterans, they're
retirement.
They are putting their last ounce of sweat out. Left and right. They're doing great.
Left and right.
I know. I just saw what Russell Westbrook's said a couple days ago that he's respectively
199 triple double.
Yeah, but I was gonna say he said that he's the best player in the NBA to come off the bench right now. And, maybe a couple years ago, you would have thought that was a crazy statement when he was on the Lakers.
Yeah,
that was a bad situation.
Yeah, but when he was on the Thunder, especially, I
Yeah.
would not have expected him to
But
be like that.
right now, that doesn't surprise me. He's playing great.
Yeah,
James
he's
Harden
an
is playing
amazing
great.
player.
Kawhi is playing great. Paul George is playing the best on that team.
Yeah, definitely.
By far the best. He's put up, 40-point performances like nothing.
Yeah.
He's played him amazing. And that just, shows, how great that team is, and I think how far that team's going to go.
I didn't expect the Clippers to do this far because I didn't expect for them to pull some crazy trades with James Harden on the team.
Yeah.
Even after, 10 games with James Harden, they weren't doing hot.
I thought those blockbuster trades were all good for nothing, but I guess they were good for something.
James Harden decided to lock in. He was like, "This is my year to win the championship. Yeah. I'm gonna get this one. I'm gonna help my team get to a really high seed, win the championship."
And honestly, I'm rooting for them to come out of the West. These young teams like OKC and Minnesota. They're great teams and they surprised us. But it's time to let the old heads win. Yeah, let's give them one.
Just let two ringless legends just get that one championship this year.
It'll mean a lot more than your first of many for SGA or Ant. Three, legends, but it's only Kawhi who has that edge there. But I think the third, surprise and in the last one was the disparity between the competition in the West compared to the East.
Yeah. There's a crazy amount of competition in the West. I mean, teams in the East, in the play-ins, they don't even have a positive record.
So easily could there have been a lot of competition with the Sixers, with the Bucks, with the Heat, with the Celtics, with the Knicks, but there's not.
Injuries really got to. Injuries got to the 76ers.
The Bucks had a rough season with their coaching staff the entire year.
Yeah, Doc Rivers was not
the guy
fit for the Bucks.
But also, the Heat just don't try in the regular season,
which I really disagree with because their Heat culture states to try your hardest.
Yeah,
it's not like you're saving your energy to play in the playoffs by not playing in the regular season.
Yeah, but it's crazy that some teams are fighting for play-in spots in the West. And they have the same.
76ers are fighting for the playoff spot in the East.
Yeah, and some teams are fighting for playoff spots who don't have a winning record, and some teams that's in the East, but in the West, some teams are fighting to get in the play-ins with a record that's 10 games over 500, which is just kind of unheard of, and that just shows the disparity. And I really didn't. Yeah, I expected the West to be more, filled with competition. I really was
disappointed by how much worse every other team in the East besides the Celtics would have done this season.
The Knicks surprised me too.
The Knicks are really good, which
they had a great run last year too.
Yeah, I personally think Jalen Brunson should be a top 5 in the MVP ladder, possibly replacing Jason Tatum, which is a really hot take, but not fully there for it. But I think he should definitely be above Anthony Davis and Domantas Sabonis, which are the 6th and 7th spots.
Yeah, and to go off of that, just to get a look at the West right now, the Lakers are the 10 seed and the Warriors are the 9 seed. Nobody expected that leading the season.
Yeah, I thought the Lakers were going to do really well following their play-in victory to the Western Conference Finals last year.
And even this year, nobody remembers the play-in tournament.
Yeah,
they won the play-in tournament. They won that tournament in November.
You mean the in-season?
Sorry. The in-season tournament. They won, or the Warriors won a championship 2 years ago.
Yeah, but
nobody expected this downfall.
Crazy thing.
True, like the Raptors.
Yeah.
But nobody
the Warriors
quite
didn't make any blockbuster trades. They didn't get rid of their core members. They
while they were good.
Yeah, they even added Chris Paul, which I thought would do really good things off the bench for the Warriors, but I guess the age has just gotten to him. He's still a good player to have on your team, but he's nowhere near close to Lob City or New Orleans.
Yeah. But to finish this point, the Lakers are the 10 seed, the Warriors are the 9 seed, and the Kings are the 8 seed. And by the way, they all have a 45-35 record.
Yeah, exact same record, fighting for that play-in tournament spot.
Not only is this a pretty good record, right? These teams are all 10 games over 500.
Yeah.
But these 2 games of the regular season are going to be the most important to them.
Yeah,
and they better hope that they're playing easy teams.
Yeah, this is the border between lottery team and NBA championship. Which I doubt the Lakers, Warriors, or Kings would win, but they would have a chance to if they are in the play-in tournament. Then at least they would have a
one of these teams could so easily drop out of playoff, drop out of the playoff race, drop out of the play-in game. And so easily could a team that's not even in the play-ins, get into the play-ins or get into the playoffs. It's just the way that the West is structured right now, anything can happen with these last two games.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that the Warriors and the Lakers could stay in the play-ins.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that can happen.
I'm hoping that would be an amazing play-in tournament with the Warriors and LeBron's Lakers versus Steph Curry.
But honestly, in the end, nobody knows what's going to happen. Anything can happen for the next two games. And so are the Sixers, right?
Yeah, the 76ers are the 7th seed right now, fighting the Pacers and the Magic with one more win than them for the playoff spot. And I definitely think that they can make that playoff spot, especially because Joel Embiid is back.
He's back
with the 76ers. I think they can make a huge impact in these last two games, just dominate the playoffs in the future.
But besides that, obviously that gives you some, outlook into the next or the last two games of the season as we're closing the 2023-2024 regular season. But now we're going to kind of go back into retrospect, and then we're going to give a little glimpse into the future of next year, where we're going to kind of give some college talents in the NCAA right now, and we're going to kind of compare them to an NBA player and kind of try to see who would win a 1v1, kind of see if they're ready for that NBA level of competition. So as this finishing kind of part, we're gonna talk about Zach Edey. We talked about how great he was.
Yeah, great college player.
Yes.
Probably not going to be very successful in the NBA.
He just needs to develop a bag.
Yeah, he has like one move.
But we're gonna put him against Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, who would you think would win versus Nikola Jokic and I just butchered that.
Versus Zach Edey. Zach
Edey.
Now we all know that Zach Edey is a great player. Both of these players.
7'4".
He's a lot taller
too.
Yeah,
he's huge.
And 300 pounds.
He has like 5 inches on Jokic.
Yeah. But besides that, all he has in his bag is that one little move,
like
that little floater, that little dunk floater thing. He has nothing else. Nikola Jokic can
shoot a fadeaway from.
He could shoot a fadeaway. Hands little Larry Bird behind his back.
He can shoot a
and
fadeaway
it'll still go in.
He can shoot fadeaway from like half court. It'll magically go in. I don't
it'll
know
go
how.
in.
He contacts those Serbian wizards. Give me basketball shooting abilities. He goes like this, and it goes in.
It'll be the ugliest shot you see, but it'll go in. And he could do anything. He could improvise. That's why we think that he's going to be Zach Edey.
Don't fix it.
Exactly, right? That's why he's going to be Zach Edey.
He has also amazing post game as well. He does,
yeah.
Underhand lays. He has spin shots. That little post fade that he does.
Yeah. But in the end, Nikola Jokic is going to win, and I think it might be a little bit unfair to put Zach Edey against this great talent.
Yeah, but Zach Edey's 7'4" and could probably block him, but
yeah, but we just got to.
Which is why it's fair.
We just got to expose how much Zach Edey needs to work on his bag.
Yeah,
he has some work to do to get into the NBA, and of course he hasn't officially declared for the draft, but I think it's time.
Yeah,
I think he will in the upcoming days. But our next kind of little 1v1, our second out of the three that we're going to do is a name that we haven't heard in a while since the days of the Final Four. We're going to do DJ Burns versus Kenneth Lofton Jr.,
which is a name that we haven't heard in a long time.
In a long time. He is. These are both
like
big
42
boys.
points in his NBA debut.
With the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah. If you don't know him, just look him up. He's a big boy.
He's built
both of them are
pretty big boys.
Yeah, but who do you think is going to win that?
This is a really tight one because
they're kind of the
Lofton,
same.
He's faster. He's really good in double team situations, which would make it even easier to face in a 1v1 scenario.
Yeah, definitely.
But on the other hand, DJ Burns is massive. He's really good in 1v1 situations in the paint. Both of them can shoot post fades, but this is really close. But I'd give it to DJ Burns.
Honestly, I think I agree with you. Right? Because Kenneth, he's in the G League right now, and And DJ Burns is an insanely good player.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good.
He's proven time and time again that he can do whatever
DJ
he
Burns
wants.
is really good.
And he's a good shooter, too.
With contact
he's a good shooter.
in the paint.
Yeah.
He's really good with just backing people down, getting an easy layup, and I don't think that would be a problem versus Kenneth Lofton in a 1v1.
Yeah.
While that would be much harder than other NCAA centers, as Kenneth Lofton's an ex-NBA player.
Yeah.
I think he's on a two-way. Is he on a two-way?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I think DJ Burns has a slight edge, maybe like 11-9 or 11-10.
Yeah. But in the end, I think we're going to put GJ to win that one.
Yeah.
And then our final one to wrap up this the podcast is going to be talking about the fan favorite, Duke's own point guard, recently declared for the draft, Jared McCain versus Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
Now, I love Jared McCain.
Yeah, he's an amazing personality.
I can't wait to see him in the NBA. Love him as a person. Great dude. But Colin Sexton is basically the more athletic, fast, and more defensive version of Jared McCain.
Yeah. Well, Colin Sexton's extremely athletic, an extremely good three-point shooter.
And he's fast. He's really fast.
Yeah, he's really fast.
In 2K, he's really fast. That's how I know it.
He's some really decent post moves and stuff. But I'd still give the edge to Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
As how athletic he is and how good at defense he is.
And
an underrated player.
And I'm sure Jared McCain will be a better player in his near future. But he is developing right now. He just had that little stint of success, like major success in the NCAA and in his final games. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do in the NBA. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen for the rest of the season, the playoffs. We'll make sure to give you guys more episodes. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, but we're going to make sure to give you a lot more insight into the playoffs and the end of the regular season. But I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and make sure to check out our merch store. It's on our social media.
Breakout.co.
Yeah, for all your social media marketing needs.